Welcome to the Stillwater Farmers Market. Whether you come to this one or any of the others across the state, it's a wonderful place to make that connection between the fork and the farm. It's a place where you can get fresh food, really fresh food. Try and encourage your family to eat fresh food. And if you don't garden, it's a wonderful place to get that food easily. If you do garden, sometimes we don't have a large enough space to really make it a good place to grow everything that you want to grow. And so you can supplement what you're growing in your garden. It's also a wonderful place to come if you've had a visit by the squash bugs or some other reason one of your crops has failed and you really have a hankering for fresh zucchini or fresh tomatoes. Earlier this spring, I spoke with Johnny Roberts, the Market Development Coordinator for the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food and Forestry, about Oklahoma's farmers markets. I asked Johnny about the advantages of shopping at the farmers market.
The benefits there, the freshness is really impossible to compare to. You've got the freshness where it's grown locally, probably picked that morning or the night before, and then also being able to put a face with that food, knowing how it's raised and, like we mentioned before, who's growing it. That seems to be a big deal and a growing concern nowadays of folks just wanting to know where their food comes from, and that trust factor, that being able to put that face with that and know that it's grown with integrity.
The relationship goes even farther because you're actually talking to the person who usually is the one who's doing the production. If you have questions about any allergy possibilities, the way it was produced, whether there were pesticides involved, whether it's organic, whether you need information on how to prepare it, the person who is selling it to you can usually give you a lot of good information. And the nice thing about that is these relationships develop not only over the period of moments when you're at the farmer's market, but because you keep going back and you're visiting with the same person, those relationships can develop over a period of many years.
Getting to know the person, sometimes behind the table, in front of the table, but just the person that either is producing it, or sometimes it may be a family, and you get to learn all about their family and their family's farm. Oftentimes it's a good project for youth as well. It builds a lot of good character, but just finding out, how they grow it, maybe where they're growing it at or where they're from, more information about them, and most generally all of them will be more than happy to tell you about what they're doing and why they're doing what they're doing and how they're raising those products, whether it be fresh fruits and vegetables, or maybe some meat or eggs, maybe some baked goods.
Shopping at a farmer's market is a lot different than shopping at a supermarket or even an independent grocer. Here you get food that is fresh from the vine or the plant. At the supermarket, you're going to get food that's supermarket fresh, but it's been brought in from all over the world, and it's not necessarily what's in season, so it doesn't have the most nutrition and the most flavor, which is what you find here. But before you go to the farmer's market, it can be real useful to know what you can expect to see there by what's going to be in season. Before you head to the local farmer's market, there are resources to find out what might be available in your area.
Yeah, in fact, on our OK Grown website, we do have a produce calendar of when you can typically expect something to be in season. Now, whether like we had last year, we'll throw that out the window some years, but still it will hold true for the most part. And that same kind of outline or calendar, produce calendar that's online, will be hopefully at the markets as well. And so they'll have these small brochures that you can look at the back side of it and see. The other thing is cooperative extension. If you're questioning some things, always call your extension agent. They can tell you what's in season in that area.
One of the big questions about farmers markets is, how do I pay for my purchase? Usually the vendors are going to use cash for transactions, and so it's a good idea if you take some smaller bills with you. They don't necessarily want to change a $50 for a $3 purchase, so giving them a hand in that regard is useful. Sometimes they'll take checks if they have a fairly long relationship with you and it's a local market, but there are some markets where they're exploring some new ways to help people pay for their purchases.
Yeah, we're pretty proud of the fact we were one of the first states to offer a seniors farmers market nutrition program using EBT, or electronic balance transfers. This is an example. The card that we used simply works as a debit card. But that, along with the SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or formerly the food stamps, you know, there's over $75 million a month spent in SNAP in the state, and that is eligible to be used at farmers markets. The seniors, this is for fresh fruits and vegetables only, and this coming season we're looking at about 2,700 of these cards loaded with $25 each to go out across the state for seniors. And I know it won't make up the shortfall that they're being cut, but just trying from a nutrition side be able to make available the fresh fruits and vegetables that are needed. And from a market perspective, it opens up a lot of customers that haven't traditionally been walking through those market doors. And so it's great opportunities. The other thing we haven't mentioned is WIC, the Women, Infants, and Children's Program, and that's something that was new back last August. We've typically had it for milk and formula, but now we do have it for produce. Now it can be used for frozen as well, but that is available as vouchers that can be spent at farmers markets, and the farmers on both that and on the SNAP and the seniors, either the market or the farmer will need to sign up and register to be able to accept those benefits. But that's another thing that we help with here at the department, is guide them in the process, and if there's any questions along the way, help get them to where they need to be.